And the lodge is a facility where we plan to disciple Native ex-cons. Every week we visit a correctional center and we're getting to know some of the guys who invited to the lodge to be an intensive time of discipleship. What we want to do is empower them to find restoration from the brokenness in their lives since they've been incarcerated, and spend time with the lodge and disciple in-depth Bible study and put them to return to their home villages and become missionaries and lay pastors themselves. So that's our vision.
Now, because the lodge is in such a remote location, the airplane is an invaluable tool for ministry. We even had a team come out and carve out an airstrip for us to have a place to land. But when the water is really low, I still like to land in the sandbar. The one thing I wish I could show you in this video are the faces of the guys that we meet in the correctional centers. These are men who are guilty of horrible crimes, but they have become believers since their incarceration. And these are the types of guys that we seek after, because they have experienced restoration, and we want to continue that restoration at the lodge, and that they can eventually become missionaries to their own people in the villages themselves. But one guy in particular I want to tell you about, his name starts with the letter J, and J is guilty of assault. And since he's been incarcerated, he found out that his daughter was raped, and through a series of events he ended up being incarcerated with the man who raped his daughter. And at that time he was learning a lot about what it means to forgive. So in his own heart and mind he was having this inner battle about whether or not to forgive this guy or strangle him. And one day out in the yard, this man actually approached him and told him, "Jay, I just think you should know I am the guy who raped your daughter." He said everything in him wanted to reach out his hands and strangle the man. But what happened was, almost miraculously, instead of putting hands out to his neck, he put his hand out as a handshake, and they shook hands. And he said, "I forgive you." And they've been friends ever since. Now Jay is probably going to be our first guest at the lodge. He will be released in January, and he is very excited to be a part of the discipleship of natives. To finish off, I want to tell you quickly about our ministry at a Bible camp up on the Yukon, which is in the middle of the Alaskan state. During the summer months, we fly around the state with this Cherokee 6, which will hold 5 campers. We will fly to their village and take them to camp. And for many of these kids, this camp is the highlight of their year. Coming from some horrible situations, they get to go to camp and they get to be a kid, they get to play, and they get to hear the gospel at least 3 times a day. So in the summertime, we are very busy with flying these kids to camp. So from myself, Erica, and little Evelyn, we want to thank Mountain View Church for your continued support with us as we have made a big transition from Mexico to Alaska. We are so grateful that you have stayed with us and continue to be interested in what we're up to and supporting us. I want you to know also that we're also not done with Mexico. In fact, as I record this, we are in Mexico teaching a course on how to learn an indigenous language and why that's so important. And we still have a big heart for Mexico, and we are hoping to do an annual trip there. So thank you guys. We love you and can't wait to see you again.